Here is how not to win an election. My name is Michael Lentz, and I am running for mayor of Coeur d'Alene. All of these videos are just off the cuff. I don't have a script. I'm not reading from anything. I don't have something written out. This is all just my ideas. First mistake, do not speak your mind. The more you speak your mind, the more people are going to find to criticize, and you might think that you're trying to explain to people how you think, what you believe, what you want to do. In reality, probably not the best thing to do. A lot of people will just find something to criticize about it. So probably don't do that. Don't spend hours making YouTube videos talking about local and relevant subjects. Don't do that. And actually that is one thing that the reason I wanted to make this video about how to not win an election is because my priority above winning the election is to be honest. I'm not saying the things that I think people want to hear in order to get elected. I think that should be pretty clear by now because obviously at the first forum I let out and just made a video about only having lived here for 6 months. That's not how you get elected. Just to be clear, that's not how you do it. So my priority above all of this is to be honest and to just tell people from my perspective, obviously, I mean, these are my opinions, but to be honest about my opinions, to be honest about how I feel about things, to be honest how I view the situation and how I'm looking at things. So another example is that I'm trying to conversationally reframe the growth debate here in North Idaho and in Coeur d'Alene. And for example, people will say like, oh, well, it's about density or no density, or we prepare for the future, we don't prepare, whatever's the talking point about this versus that. The reality of the situation is that it's between, here's the choices. You cannot have a real estate market, which is a purchasing market and a rental market that goes 30% year over year over year over year, and have all of the things that we love and enjoy about living in a small town. Low crime, low traffic, low density, high trust neighborhoods. It's very safe. Good schools. You know your neighbor. It's just a great local town. Lots of local small businesses. You can't have both of those things. Can't have them both. So that's where, the voters on November 2nd will get to choose elected officials in which way they want. If you want real estate profits and rental profits, and if you want the ability to raise rent on your tenants 30% year over year, if that's important to you more so than traffic and crime and schools and drugs and low density, that's totally within your right. That's your priority. But you have to understand that that's the trade-off that you're making. And a big part of the problem with elected officials and city government is that they are not honest with citizens. They're not honest with the residents here about the actual trade-offs that they're making. Planning for future growth, making residents now pay for it, and those residents getting pushed out. Well, nobody's going to say, well, we gotta pave the roads and raise the taxes. And we need good jobs. So we'll just start bringing in these companies that are going to bring in people that are going to displace you and keep the market going up and keep more people who have grown up here getting pushed out of the area. They're not going to say that part, right? But that's just the reality of the situation. Unless growth is responsible and organic, paying for itself and in a way that is beneficial for the locals, unless that happens, then we're just on a path towards becoming Spokane, where half of the people that live here now will be pushed out by 2030 probably, and they'll be replaced by higher earning remote workers, retirees, and on the lower end, because obviously the lower end people are being pushed out as well, entry-level tradesmen, people that work in hospitality, retail, all these businesses that are hiring, those people are getting pushed out. They don't live here because they can't afford to live anywhere, so they're being pushed out. Small businesses will go out of business. They'll be replaced by corporate chains. I detail that in the series on growth, right? So I'm not going to go into that too much here. But my point is that the way that you don't win an election is by being honest with people and telling them really what the trade-offs are. Because nobody wants to hear, hey, Do you want to lose your lifestyle or do you want to take a pay cut? Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to say that because they want to get elected. But that's the reality. The real estate market has to cool down, or the lifestyle is going to go away. Those are the choices. And those are the choices that people will get to make on November 2nd. They'll get to decide what their priorities are. I'm the lifestyle candidate. I want the small town vibe. I want the small town atmosphere. I want to keep things local. I want small businesses to thrive and prosper. I don't want the area to be overrun by predatory investment, outside companies. I want the low crime, the low traffic, the good schools, all those types of things. I want all of that to stay here. I want the area to remain as it is. I want the area that locals have built and earned to remain as much so as it is. The other two candidates that are running, Joe and Jim for mayor, those are the profit candidates. If you own 10 houses, you want to vote for them. If you're a developer that wants to build 8,000 apartments, Joe and Jim. If you live in California and you want to buy a whole bunch of property here to rent, vote for Joe and Jim. Just kidding, you can't, but you would if you could. So that's just the reality on November 2nd, is that voters have to decide what their priorities are. And nobody wants to tell you. Nobody wants to be honest with you. And there are a few other things, that I'll say along the way. I can't come up with any of the other ones right now, but I would just talk about myself even. Like I said, I wouldn't say that I've only been here for 6 months. I'd say I'm a Republican, right? That's what everyone says. I'm a Republican. I'm running against 2 retired Republicans, but I'm about localism. I'm not a Democrat, not a progressive. I'm not a Republican. I'm all about the city government should protect the citizens of the city. If it takes a policy that you might think of as being a Democrat policy or a Republican policy to do that, I am probably in favor of it. Whatever it takes to keep the area special, I'm probably into it. And I love North Idaho. I love the culture here. I love the community. I love how rural and small town vibes, being able to know your neighbors. I love all those things. And I want to keep those things how they are. So, I guess we'll see if that's the way to win the election or not. But I just want to put it out there. I'm going to say things that people don't want to hear. I'm going to say things that are unpopular because my priority in all of this is to be honest. I'll answer almost any question about who I am, what I'm about, my opinion on various local issues. I'm happy to do that. The only thing I don't want to get into is federal politics, partisan politics stuff. Like I said, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. So I don't want to come out on team issues that are federal issues that don't have anything to do with the local area. As an example, what's your opinion on Marjorie Taylor Greene or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? My opinion is nothing. I don't want to have a public opinion about it. I don't want to think about either of them. I don't want to get involved. I want to focus on growth here in Coeur d'Alene. I want to focus on local issues. I want to focus on making our town the best that it can possibly be and keeping Coeur d'Alene special. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I am happy to answer questions, but I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to say things at times that perhaps people don't want to hear. And I hope that you will appreciate the honesty because certainly another candidate who's running doesn't really have much to say about anything. So I guess we'll see how much people value having an opinion or not and being honest or not. If you like the message, you want to get involved, I definitely need your help. Not taking any campaign donations, and you can see more. I'm sure you're seeing the YouTube videos, and then my website is strongyoungmayor.com, and my Instagram is @strongyoungmayor.